Hey everybody, little impromptu not IHP, but Instagram Live. Robby Besner and I are looking forward to doing a little chat right now. So when he comes in, I will just invite him. But just so much talk this week of the universal binder that we were going to chat about that. Robby has many decades of experiences working with so many different companies in the past. And Therasage is just a fantastic partner that Equi.Life has been working with, and again, really just promoting the great work that Therasage has been doing. And right on cue, here is Robby. And so, what I'd love to be able to do is just go over from a practitioner standpoint and just general public what Robby has seen in the past using particular binders, how they've used it in practice, and then also any questions he may have for his community for me as well. So, Robby, thanks so much for being here. Why don't you give a 60-second bio for people that are not yet acquainted with you? Oh, I can't hear your voice. It may just be me, but I want to make sure that we can. All right, Robby.
There we go. There we go. I'm Robby Besner, and I am the device developer and the co-founder of Therasage. And we basically harness full spectrum infrared frequencies, and we put them into very usable, easily understood devices. One of the most popular ones is our infrared sauna, and we also have on-body pads like the TheraPro and the Tri-Light systems, all harnessing the power of sun energy to basically mobilize all the toxins in your body. That's one of the main features. And so detoxification and the most efficient ways to detox has been a major focus of our company for, well, we're now around almost 23 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we felt it was just great to be able to come together as two different companies doing two different things in terms of product to help people, but really harnessing the power of sauna, infrared sauna, red light, soon PMF, and then combine that's like the external coming in, and then the internal being the functional medicine detox, moving that out. So it's been fantastic, obviously, working with you and your team and your expertise, and would love to hear how you've used binders in the past, what you look for, how does it help people, especially with the products, and we'll take it from there.
Well, as a company, way back when, we focused mostly on developing and deploying what we feel is the most usable form of harnessing sun energy through the infrared sauna, through the healing pads. Part of the thesis initially was, how do we mobilize toxins efficiently? How to use the body's physiology to actually work for you, essentially do the heavy lifting. Again, we started where our company is about 25 years old now. And way back when, of course, the world, as we move forward, the world's gotten way more toxic with exogenous frequencies and, EMF challenges, as well as chemtrails and the effects of glyphosate, just for one of the main chemicals that seems to be permeating into our foods, our water supplies, and our air supplies. So this whole concept of toxicity, or developing the most efficient ways to detoxify in what I consider a very toxic environment, and over, I don't know, I want to say almost 10 times more toxic in the urban cities as opposed to the rural areas. But it's really just another pandemic related challenge that all of us are being faced with. And it's affecting us in so many ways, Dr. Cabral, because basically we're seeing in clinic that many of our children, these are teenage women, under 20, and guys under 20 that have low testosterone levels and are showing signs of infertility. Now, this is not genetics. This is epigenetics. This is the effects of our environment on our bodies that is actually changing our genetics, not in our favor, bringing out certain traits that might have been recessive and in prior generations may never have surfaced. Now they're surfacing in our children. They're surfacing in people at much younger ages, which I think is contributing to the highest trends, spiked trends in many of the chronic ailments that people are experiencing these days. And so we really have, although detoxification was just one of the main features of harnessing infrared frequencies from sun energy, it now has moved up the scale to becoming one of the major things that we are focusing on, most efficient ways. And it's really one of the questions that most people, most of our clients and the communities that we're talking to are concerned about. And so that's where, I mean, I have been waiting since you gave me the little kind of whisper in my ear that you were developing your unified binder approach. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. We just received our first allocation less than a week and a half ago. I have been testing it on myself because I am a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde guy, very similar to you. If it doesn't work for me, it's very hard for me to advocate. And I am so proud to say that you have done it again, Dr. Cabral. You brought to the community, to the world, probably one of the best binders we have ever tested here at lab and even in myself. So kudos to you. And
I appreciate that. Happy to hear that.
Yeah, in a word, I just want to say bravo.
Thank you.
Good going.
Thank you. And in every product, as you know, I don't know the product cycle that it takes to create a new Therasage-based item, but it takes a good 12 months to formulate and create a product. And it's because we don't have an intention of ever going in and saying, we need to create this. We see a need, and the need here was based on, first of all, binders are not able to be used by most children. So they're charcoal-based powders, and kids aren't going to consume them. And also, we always work with the most sensitive individuals, the one with mast cell activation syndrome, or the Asperger's or autism spectrum disorders, or we're working with hives and migraines and chemical sensitivities. And so for them, a charcoal-based binder is not going to be the thing that serves them to the greatest degree. And so what we did was we simply wanted to say, okay, based on this, there's this whole group of people that is being left out. And if we could create something that would help them, well, that would be fantastic. And so, again, we never say that any of the binders that we've used in the past by other functional medicine companies are not great. They are. What we wanted to do was something different that just always tries to up-level the industry. So by combining the bentonite clay with the apple pectin, with the humic acid and fulvic acid and the coconut-based activated charcoal, and even the taurine and TUDCA to be able to open up those drainage and detox pathways, I think is going to help people to a tremendous degree. And so, yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on that with the ingredients, the formulation, and maybe even when people would best use it before sauna or after sauna.
Okay. Well, to comment on what you just said, what you did was genius. Again, you've tapped into the highest intelligence and research in the category of binders, and you've created a hybrid that really takes the best attributes and benefits of all the different categories. And so I think that that's genius in itself. And us as a company, we decided, and we know from the technology, we know that sun energy will actually mobilize, it will actually break the covalent bond between the toxicants, all kinds, from heavy metals to environmental toxins that are combined in the body. It'll actually break that bond and then mobilize that toxin and bring it from wherever it's stored into either your bloodstream, and or many toxins, environmental toxins, are actually absorbed in that thin layer of fat that insulates your body just under your skin. So when you're bathing, your skin is actually a breathing organ, so it's actually bringing toxicants that are in the air, waters that you drink, your food in sources. Those are all ways that you bring toxins in. So on one side, our research showed us that the sun rays will actually, infrared sun rays will actually mobilize these toxins. That's not good enough, because now you're still depending on your body resources, your filtering systems like your liver, kidney, pancreas, large intestine, all of these organs that are designed to actually filter these toxins out. In a normal world, that might work, but we're not in a normal world. Our bodies are being overridden with toxins, and at this point in time, I believe that we're just not equipped to actually get rid of the toxins as fast as they come in. So without the use of an infrared sauna, as a chelator to mobilize the toxins, and without the use of a collateral accessory, in a sense, or a binder to actually grab these toxins as they're being liberated. Many people, what happens even in their normal life, and there's other ways to mobilize toxins, by the way, besides chelators, just movement will mobilize toxins, right? So now we're mobilizing them, and what's happening is sort of like one of those snowball machines. You shake it up, the toxins get all mobilized, and then they retox or settle back down in the body, either in the same place or a different place. That's not our job. Let's mobilize them and get them out.
Yeah.
So how do we efficiently mobilize, which the sauna will do, bind them up, which is the brilliant binder that you put together, and then recruit the body's systems, their normal filtering organs, but now, of course, they're not working overtime as they would without the binder or without that combination. And so having the binder in place takes a lot of the heavy lifting, even off the overworked organs that we currently have in place. And so together, the synergy of the binder you've created and the sauna and harnessing infrared is really beautiful. Now back to your ingredients. Oh my goodness. Again, we've been deep researching because we've been using binders in combination with sauna now for a better part of 15 years. And so we don't compromise friendship. As much as I love you, Dr. Cabral, if you didn't make the best binder in the world, I wouldn't be on this live advocating for it, but you do. And so that's why I am behind you and behind this 100%. But
it should be.
I don't compromise friendship for the best quality binder available. And you've come up with it because the ingredients, I mean, to have a charged carbon particle that allows that, and that's a very interesting ingredient in itself, because activated charcoal has its own way of binding up the toxicants in the body. But having a charged particle, now what you're using is the earth energy, because the body has a charge to it, the toxicant has a charge to it, particularly heavy metals. That's the one that is probably on the high scale, whereas the hardest ones to chelate. But in general, they've got charges to them. And when you can introduce a supplement, a binder, that actually has a charge to it that's stronger than the charge of the body. Now when we mobilize the toxin like a magnet is drawn to the binder rather than drawn back to the body. And now the binder can do its job in combining all the toxicants, and then again use the body's systems. Let me see, eliminating systems. Sweating is a great way to get things out. The lymphatic system is a great way to get poisons out, and certainly eliminating through peeing and pooping, for the lack of better words, is a great way to get things out. So we're really recruiting body systems and on a primal level so that we don't have to do the heavy lifting. And so ingredients are really important. And bentonite clay is also a really wonderful one. So combining the charged carbon particle or activated carbon and the clay and the macro binding aspect, or the big biosponge, is what I talk about when I try to describe this to our clients and to patients. It's really like a big sponge, and then you actually bring in the zeolite derivatives, that is the little sponge. So you're combining all these sponges together to really get the very easily available, the large toxicants, as well as the very fine ones, which generally are the biofilms, the neuro and the mycotoxins, as well as the heavy metals. Those are a little bit harder. So you've created a formulation that actually addresses all these levels of toxicants in one capsule, and that's truly amazing, really amazing.
I appreciate that. And one of the things it was for is it had to be gentle on the digestive system, but it also had to be highly effective. Like, that's always the goal, because you can put in some really strong products, but the issue is then you're oftentimes causing just as many symptoms as the symptoms you hope to alleviate. So when someone does, let's say, an infrared sauna, and they are mobilizing a lot of toxins, or at least liberating them, you don't want all of the symptoms of skin rash or histamine reactions or headaches or migraines or brain fog or low mood or irritability. And so the goal is, as you're mobilizing those throughout the body, and they're going to the liver and then they're going to the intestines, that they don't get, like, just like you said, they don't get recirculated back in, which is what unfortunately a lot of people are doing. And so what the binder does is, once you're moving the heavy metals or mold or bacteria or parasites or whatever it is from the biofilm or from the body into the intestines, the binder binds them up. So it uses bentonite clay and activated charcoal, like you said, the carbonized one, which have the negative ions. So it's basically like a magnet grabbing things and holding them in. Something like apple pectin creates a gel around them, natural gel, which seals them in. And then it begins to just move them from the body. One thing we didn't mention is silica from natural bamboo shoots. And silica, the most prevalent heavy metal in the world right now is aluminum, the one that humans come into contact the most with. We've done hundreds of thousands of lab tests on that. And so we know that silica is vitally important because that's going to have the greatest affinity for aluminum. So that's why that's in there too. Just, one thing I wanted to share is that, again, as you're putting this formula together, you want it to be able to be used by all sorts of different people. So if there's people out there right now, like, what's the dosage? I saw that as one of the questions. Well, it's 3 capsules per serving. And the thing is, though, you can always start with the minimal possible dosage, which would literally be 1 capsule, or open it up and just pour half into some water and you can drink it that way. So you can always do the minimal dosage, which is what I highly recommend if you do use this with children. And the way that you typically would use this is with a parapro support, parasite-based protocol, a mold protocol, heavy metal protocol, functional medicine detox. All of those are great with. Or I always say use it before going out and having a few drinks of alcohol, or a cheat meal, or if you're doing a big, like, let's say, lymphatic drainage plus infrared sauna plus maybe in colon hydrotherapy, great to use that binder as well, because as you're opening things up and they are being brought through the blood to the liver to the intestines, you want to be able to bind all those too. So would love to get your take on that, your thoughts, but I wanted to make sure that if this is the first time they heard about a binder, they knew how it worked and when to use it.
Yeah, and frankly, I don't really travel, and I'm traveling right now as we're speaking, and I don't really leave my home without having a binder in my DOP kit along with, because whenever, it's kind of a funny thing, and I often speak about this, like, you could be in sauna, we talk about those detox symptoms, which you described, like a headache or brain fog or histamine responses, itchy skin. This is all signs that your brain and your body is giving you that you're actually, the detox is working. So when we are coaching our customers that buy sauna or any infrared products, we alert them that all infrared products will mobilize toxins. And so if you're experiencing them, this is your body really giving you a sign that things are working. Of course, hydration is super important, that we flush these toxins out. So with sauna, our protocol would be hydrate before, take the binder during that time, and then do your sauna session, then hydrate again afterwards. So the first hydration is to make sure that you have enough water to actually promote the sweating. And the second hydration is really to dilute the toxic burden that we created when you mobilize toxins inside. And what you describe, these symptoms, is really when we actually mobilize and liberate that toxin, it goes into your bloodstream. The bloodstream is a closed system, and eventually that higher level toxicity blood actually comes up to the brain. The brain actually senses that change in toxic level and then gives some kind of sign, like a headache or lightheadedness or dizziness, everything you describe. And so sometimes, Dr. Cabral, what I talk about is I wake up this morning, I do my sauna sesh, everything is great, I feel really good, and then I go out with my wife for dinner that night. I don't taste in the food that actually some of the oils that the chef used were turning rancid. So I'm not experiencing food poisoning or anything like that. I wake up the following morning and I go into my sauna sesh and I don't feel so good. I get that detox response. I don't correlate that to my meal the night before. And for people just tuning in, it's just being out in our community, being out in our environment now. You don't know where that little tipping point is when you actually start to get some symptom or sign. So I always travel with a binder, because when I wake up and I get that feeling the following morning, my first go-to is to get something that will absorb the poisons that are affecting my bloodstream, that's affecting the way my body or my brain particularly is analyzing the blood and rebalancing my chemistry internally so that I'm able to be vital. And so this is, you know, so important in your daily diet. And then I wanted to comment that it was brilliant. Many binders, when you buy them, they come in bulk form. And if they have charcoal, it gets kind of messy trying to scoop out that binder and not get it all over your counter. Fortunately, in our kitchen, we have dark counters, so my wife doesn't complain too much when that powder's down there. She can't really see it. But now I've learned to do it on top of some kind of a cloth that catches all that little powder. But by putting it in a capsule, that's really great, because then you can digest it really easy. You've made the dosage perfect, so you can titrate up and then start off low dosing, seeing how your body responds. Over my years of research, and it's only happened to one patient on tens of thousands of patients that we have touched, that there actually was a little bit of constipation or a little stuckness related to using binder. They're perfectly safe. We have had some concerns about using binder and using other supplements and medications, and why isn't the binder absorbing that? And so for the people that have concerns about that, really you can just separate the time between when you take your medications or other supplements and when you use the binder. But for the most part, the only interaction that we've seen that is with the nano binder or the zeolite derivative, and that's with a medication that's called lithium, which is a mood alteration where there may be some synergistic effect. But other than that, and one case, over tens of thousands of people that have used binders with our sauna and using it for detox, there's been actually no challenge with getting stuck or sluggish, waste removals from the body. So it's perfectly safe. It's probably the most inexpensive way for you to maintain primal healing in the body, because basically, particularly when you start using sauna from a small, maybe 3 to 4 months, you're getting to the point where you're eliminating the toxins that you brought into the body from the day before. And you start kind of pecking away at the ones your body has been storing over the years. But for you just to stay even if you drew a line in the sand right now, started using the binder protocol, whether with sauna or not, you're going to start to pull those toxins out of the body before they settle into your systems and get embedded into your organs. The heavy metals get embedded into your brain and start to affect your cognitive challenges. This is truly really the most inexpensive way to maintain your health, and should be a supplement you include in your regimen every single day. I have to finish with this little part of my monologue here. There's not very many things that I would suggest in today's world that you do every single day of your life. And this is actually one of them. So I know that in the pharmaceutical world, they want you to get hooked on medications, do this, start this. And, like blood pressure medications are ones that they say, start it, you'll always be on it. And I'm really sort of adverse to that. I think the body should be self-regulate in many ways, and it will. But again, back to our toxic world, I think we're in a world where it's really overbearing for most bodies to self-regulate. And that's why you do need some additional support. And this is one of the ones that I truly think you need to do every single day to be healthy.
I appreciate that. And people are asking a little bit more about the details. And so I would just say that if you do take medication upon waking, you want to do that first. And as Robby was alluding to, you wait at least an hour after your medication in order for that medication to move through your esophagus, through your stomach, into your intestines, be absorbed. And because what a binder is meant to do is absorb what it is essentially touching and around. So for people not on medication, or let's say they're using an enzyme or a probiotic, you can certainly do that first upon waking and then wait 30 minutes and you can take your binder. The serving size is 3 capsules. That equals 2 grams. So you get 2 grams of a binder. So that's a pretty strong, pretty solid dosage. And we literally picked that for a specific reason, because that's the right dosage for most people to use if they wanted to on a daily basis, or even for a 6 or 12-week term during a functional medicine detox, or maybe a parasite protocol, heavy metal detox, etc. Just a couple of the other questions I wanted to answer is that this is not meant to be your heavy metal based protocol. This is meant to use along with a parasite, heavy metal, or mold protocol. So when we're talking about heavy metals, we want to use things like chlorella, cilantro, even other items like kelp or spirulina. So like there are other things that you can be doing. This is not meant to take the place of those. This is meant to enhance the removal of those heavy metals, especially as they begin to get moved and mobilized through the liver to the actual intestines. And a lot of that has to do with where they're actually placed at the terminal end of the small intestine before it moves into that large intestine. So you've already done a lot of your absorption. Now it's time to get all of those things out of the body. So I just want to mention that there are other parts to protocols that you would do. This does not replace them. And the other part is that, in the world we do live in, there are 100,000 man-made chemicals in the environment. And so all we're trying to do is keep up with on a daily basis, emptying that rain barrel so that you do have less of the symptoms of the fatigue and the grogginess, the brain fog, the skin rashes, the headaches, the low mood. And this is going to help for sure with that. Just another question or two. Why can't you just use insoluble fiber and not a supplement? So I think we're both proponents of plants, right? And so you can absolutely get soluble and non-soluble fiber in your diet, and you should. But fiber is not a binder per se. It is a bulk additive in the intestines, which allows for the good growth of healthy bacteria. But also at the same time, it helps move the stool out of the body, which is great. And you have to drink enough water. And if you do, you'll have strong, healthy, good bowel movements. What it doesn't do is bind up a lot of the heavy metals, mold, parasites, etc. So the binder is an add-on to a good, healthy diet. Neither one of us are saying you don't have to eat well and you can just take a binder. It's not that at all. This is just trying to combat the chemicals that were in the environment before essentially 1940. And so that's what we're doing as well. I think that is basically it. My mold elimination protocol contains a binder. I can replace that with this product. I don't know the mold protocol that you're doing right now, so I can't actually say. You'd have to talk with your practitioner about that. But we just have a couple minutes left. For the people asking, will this be recorded? Yes, I will repost it right when this ends in another minute or two, right on my social media feed. So absolutely, we will repost that. Robby, anything else you'd like to add at the end of our little chat here today, our informal talk?
We covered a real lot today, and I'm happy that, the people joined us and that we had this opportunity. I just have to tell you again how proud I am to be involved with you and your movement and your company. Also, the joy that I have in bringing these kinds of supplements that you've developed, the thought that you've put into them. You've really considered all the bases, and you also allow a lot of room for people to experience this and really get a chance to take more charge of their own personal health care and their journey. And also through your teachings, through the exhausting amount of information you put out that really kind of dives deep into and really addresses all levels of people's concerns, and even offering this opportunity for us both to express our experiences. It really is really wonderful. You're doing a great job, Dr. Cabral, and this is just an amazing addition to the really beyond amazing supplement collection that you've curated to date. So I'm super happy to be aligned with your group and have the opportunity to share our own experiences with your community as well as ours.
All right, thank you for that. And that's really what it is about. It's giving people the tools to take back control of their own health, become more self-reliant on themselves using good natural-based methods. That includes obviously good nutrition as well as good nutrition supplementation. So I haven't held it up yet, but this is literally the product, the universal binder. You can find it on Equi.Life's website. You can learn more about it. You can check out the different ingredients. If you're currently using a binder, you can simply just take a look at the ingredients panel in the back. You'll be able to see everything that's there, see how it compares, and if it's the right fit for you, then feel free to take advantage. This week, actually, we're giving away 500 bottles. So if there's any available, check them out, again, over at Equi.Life. Thank you, Robby. Appreciate you. Have an amazing trip. I know you're traveling right now, and weekend as well. Bye, everybody.
Don't leave home without it.
Love it. Thank you.
Okay, bye now.